Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Tanner Vance Show. Now, listen, this one was a really good one. I talked to Shane Vargas. He's a drummer in the band, the Hybrids, the Chesterfields, and I have known of him for almost my life, living here in this little town of Wyoming, but I finally got to sit down and talk to the guy, and he is super interesting, super funny. He's always been a quiet guy to me, but you get him talking, and it's a lot of fun. To the point that we talked so much that I planned on telling him. In the last episode, I mentioned like why one of the reasons I hadn't been doing as much work on this, and a lot of it had to do with, well, I mean, neglecting things in general, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that I burned my ass. Yes, alcohol was involved. Hopefully, I guess in that case, but yeah, I put my ass against I was drunk. I put my ass right against a hot metal. It was like a fire pit. It's like a above ground metal one, but it had like this metal lid on top of it. And it was a cold night, and I was warming my booty, and I got close. I got too close, and I singed it good. So I've literally been taking care of my ass lately. But Shane talked. He was such an interesting guy. So many stories. We had a lot of fun. So much to the point that I forgot to even talk about something as weird and interesting and funny as I burned my ass. That you tell someone that, and immediately they're like, "What? Like that doesn't make it. How does that even happen?" So you're gonna enjoy this one, or at least I really hope you do. Of course, it'll be in the title. But I did want to mention, usually when you get interrupted or there's something that isn't quite just the conversation, naturally you would want to edit that out, right? But anyways, Shane's such a busy guy, and I was so appreciative that he gave me any amount of his time. But such a busy guy, he had his son with him, and his son did amazing the entire interview. Shout out to his kid. That was great. But there were a couple points where eventually, especially towards the end, where like as good as the kid did, I mean, he's a little kid. He doesn't care what we're talking about. He wants to go home, probably do his stuff, whatever. So I thought about editing them out, but I don't know, man. I still enjoyed when I'm listening back to it. I enjoyed, there were some jokes. I don't know. I still thought it was good enough, interesting enough that I felt like it was okay to keep it. So it's in there, and you're just going to have to learn to live with it. But I think you'll enjoy everything. Everything is super good. So just mentioning that was my choice. Okay. I think that's about all I needed to mention. But without further ado, here is Shane Vargas. That's like one of the perks of like the arms is you'll be able to like pull it closer to you.
So you can get up close.
So we're not all like hunched over like this on these tripods. Because there was times where I know like when me and Connor was the first one, we'd start like I listened back to it later, and yeah, you could hear like when we would start leaning back.
So it'd start fading away.
Yeah, you're like Connor.
Lean back like this and you'd be talking super.
Yeah, and I was like Connor, come back to me. But anyway, so I wrote down a bunch of questions for you, man. First of all, I want to say thanks for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, there's some people that I have to coax them into doing it, but there's others that are like Daxton and Connor, and you were pretty easy too. It was just like, hey, do you want to do this? Yeah.
I've always just wanted to kind of do it because I've watched people do it. I was like, that'd be fun.
Yeah, have you ever thought about starting a podcast or anything? Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird at first because you think like, what would I talk about?
That's the thing I'd probably have to think about to talk about. I'd have to make something interesting about the show if I did.
Yeah, and there's like little things too, well, first off, I'm doing since I decided to start doing this talking to people thing, I feel like that douchebag that's running around asking everyone to be on my show. Like, hey, do you want to do a podcast with me?
Hey, I mean, why not though? I mean,
I think some people didn't see it, and I understand it. Like, it's kind of a waste of their time. Like, they don't get anything out of it. Like, well, maybe they do. If they're having a good time or if they think the conversation's good, then it's a good thing. But
it doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, it's just like, I've walked up to my, favorite bands, and people are like, don't go up to them, they ain't going to talk to you, and I'll just walk up, hey, what's up? Start talking to them, and then sometimes they'll talk back and invite you back for beer and shit, and some say no, and they're assholes, and you just kind of go, okay, whatever, and just walk away.
Yeah, and I'm kind of getting over that too, asking people, because there's always a part of me I'm scared of the rejection, so I'm like, no, I'm not going to ask them. Yep. But like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised. Like I've even some of my upcoming ones, I just asked them, texted them, like, even maybe drank a little bit to like get the courage to
Loosen-
send a
loosen 'em
text.
up.
Yeah. And then I send it off and then they're like, yeah.
Well, some people just hate how their voices sound. You know, even being in a band and you'll record and you're like, that doesn't sound like me, and you hate it because it just doesn't sound like yourself.
Yeah, that was weird too. I told you I started doing my first podcast. It was like a new tab project, and when I first started hearing my voice on there, it was so cringy. And then like going back and editing it, because that one I don't really edit this one as much. But my last one was really heavy on the editing, and it was, I'd sit there for like hours editing and listening back to my voice for hours, and that was so uncomfortable.
Start changing your voice so it sounds better.
Yeah, and I was like, they'd see right through it, though. If I was like, what are you talking about, Connor? My voice has always been this low.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. But anyways, yeah, so I got a few questions for you and all that. But
Right.
first of all, how have you been? How's life treating you, man?
Good, just working a lot. Wish I was doing music a lot more. I'm manager of a store, which kind of sucks at times because I work like 50, 60 hours a week and never have time to be at home.
Yeah, especially since you're a manager, though. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess how long have you been a manager?
5 years. I've been assistant manager for almost the whole time I worked there, so that's almost 10 years. So
Damn. Have you ever thought about doing something different or anything like that? Just since, in the meantime?
I have around here. I mean, I make pretty good money. That's the only thing that keeps me there. But
Yeah.
I mean, I could go to the coal mines, but I mean, it's so shady. See people getting let go left and right all the time, or I don't want to go, get a job out there, and I'm one of the ones that get laid off. And everybody needs a, convenience store.
Yeah, right. Because it just depends on like the market. Because like all of a sudden, you say like there's a president that's really harsh on trying to like stop, coal or oil or whatever. Then that starts getting set back. And then there was all those layoffs at the coal mine.
Yeah.
And plus, fuck shift work.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they make good money, but like, I can imagine, working 12 hours and then it's an hour drive out there, hour drive back, pretty much get home, eat, and go to bed every day.
See, I'm not dedicated enough to like any job to want to put that amount of effort into it.
Yeah.
I'd rather, because I mean, especially like that's the only reason I stayed with my job is because as much as I hate waking up early, if I get up early, go to work at 5, then I get out early, but I still have the rest of my day, and then I can work on this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
See, and I miss just doing the meat, because that's how it used to be. Like, I used to just pick, little jobs like Macy's and part-time so I could go do my band stuff whenever I wanted to. I worked hard while I was there so they'd let me do it, so I'd keep my job, but the only reason I held on to this job all the time, because now I have a son, of course, and you gotta, when you got a family, you gotta feed them.
mm-hmm. Yeah, they're so needy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. Since Connor, you're here, when did you first meet Connor?
I'm just pretty much coming into my
coming into the
store,
store.
seeing him
Yeah.
every day,
Have you guys ever? I mean, come on, Connor's a pretty talented musician. He did the music for my show, even.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard he's pretty good. I've never actually heard him, though. That's the crazy part.
Why have you guys not played together?
I have no idea.
You should.
Yeah.
I swear that you came down and played with my band in high school once.
I don't know. Maybe a long time ago.
It was
Maybe just
quite a while ago. I didn't look at all like I do now. Either.
maybe that's it.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have the look.
Yeah, because I didn't know names back then. You just know faces. Everybody's younger. Because, like I said, like when our band was at its peak, I didn't live here, and I'd come back and everybody's like little kids, and then I move back, and then everybody's like, "Oh, hey, what's up, dude?" And they're like, "I don't know who you are," and they'd show you a picture. And like, "Oh, when you're like 8, now I recognize you."
Yeah, especially when Connor looked like an innocent boy. Yeah. That's funny. I know. Well, so how long have you were you born here or what?
I was born actually in Douglas, Wyoming. Then I moved here when I was like 5.
Oh, okay. And then have you swapped back and forth since, I guess?
Kind of. Well, I moved back there like once when I was like 5th, 6th grade, and then came back here and graduated. And then we, as a band wanted to move somewhere bigger, so we tried Denver, and that was like a mistake because me and TJ ended up living in his vehicle for like a month, and it was like a nightmare the whole time. And finally, we're like, screw it, man, let's go to Oregon. Jesse's mom lives out there. Be something different, and it was a cool place to move to, so it got us out of here for a while.
Yeah, that's it. I want to getting out of here is probably good, at least for a while.
Yeah, and Oregon was cool. It's just the reason we came back is just so expensive. Like we were able to, live out there, but it's like, you'd have a paycheck and buy your 10 things of ramen and your 1 beer for the week, that you can afford. And
No, I can't live off 1 beer.
Then I move out here and then I feel like I'm rich compared to that, So.
I know, that's what I'm freaked out about, and I'd probably have to find a roommate to do it. But
Yeah.
you almost have to, I think, if you go to a big city, because if for just like a 1 bedroom, like say I wanted it's $1,200 or something like that. And that
Yeah.
could be cheap.
Yeah, and in Oregon, like I just saw like married couples living with each other just because they couldn't afford to live on their own. So it's like you'd go to their house and they're splitting half and half, and having a family on one side of the house and family on the other half just
Jesus.
to survive. Yeah.
No, thank you. Although I do. Well, I wanted to live in the go try living in a city. That was almost like my plan was to move like at the end of the summer ish, like spend the summer getting stuff together. But then now I don't know with all these riots and stuff.
I know.
I'm
It's
like,
like, oh,
"No,
we'll just
thank
wait
you."
until it's over with.
Yeah, right. I know. And then and I don't know where I'd want to go, but like I don't really have anywhere in particular. It's not like I have a skill set I need to go look for.
Well, it's hard to
like
say
that.
because even when we go on tour, it's like like I say, oh, I love Oregon, it's the best. But then you'll go on tour and go to places like St. Louis or anything, and like, wow, this is so cool, such a cool place because you meet cool people. I guess it all just depends on like when you get there, how easy it is to survive when you get there. When it comes down to what job you got or how easy it is to live, really.
Yeah, and it's hard because there's some of the things I like doing. It would involve the bigger city. Like I've always wanted to like just for shits and giggles, I'd love to try first of all, even going to a comedy club.
Oh yeah,
I've never been.
I haven't either. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would go in one of those, or God, maybe try even stand up.
Yeah,
Like get up. I would be hard.
Yeah, it would.
But I'd try it. But you got to be in a big city to do that. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have Newcastle. I mean, and what the bad part about a small town where you live there, even if you were shitty, they would say you were good. Like
I
just
know.
to be nice to you. Like if you go to a city, at least you're gonna get an honest opinion. Go, you suck. Yeah.
Oh God, that would be hard at first though, because you're right, especially right now, especially with this podcast, I haven't blown up or anything like that right now. I mean, obviously, as far as the numbers go, it can't be just the people I know who are listening to it, but like a friend or a family member will listen to it and they're like, that was really good. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
do you really mean that?
you're full of shit.
It's
I
just
listen
like,
to it.
Like your mom and dad always go, oh, my son's the best drummer in the whole world. There's nobody better than him, and there's always obviously way better, out there. Always.
Yeah, you're out
Somebody's
there.
always better than somebody, no matter what.
Yeah, right. I know. And so I guess as far as music goes, when did you start? Have you always been musically inclined? Like, what's your history with all that?
My dad played in a band, so like I grew up just pretty much back when I was a kid. You can go to the bars with your dad and stuff. So like my parents, like every Friday, Saturday, my dad would play, and and us kids would be there and get a watch, and it just like you just always saw him up on that stage and you wanted up there. And I think one time he let me get up and just pretend I was playing and gave me a little guitar, but it gave me that feel of standing in front of people, and I got that like pumped feeling, and that's what you always wanted to do. So
I've been chasing the dragon ever since.
Yeah, so it's like pretty much when I actually started doing the guitar, though, was like middle school, because I always wanted one, but they'd never buy me an actual guitar, and so it just was one of those things like, okay, because my brother Travis played guitar too, and then he'd be at school or something. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll sneak in his room, and I'd just go in there and start playing his guitar when he wasn't there, or my dad would have all their band equipment set up, and then when they weren't there, me and my friend Jason, that wasn't our band Chesterfield, like, okay, they're gone, let's go play on the equipment, and kind of just picked it up and learned it ourselves. But shit, the band started to clear back in 90. When we started playing, it was 93 when we actually started writing songs together. So that's been good, almost 30 years.
Before I was born.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So I mean, you started technically on the guitar.
Oh yeah, that's what I learned. I was always like the main guitar player in the first place. I taught TJ how to play guitar, and me and Jason kind of learned together, kind of thing. And we just wanted a band, and there was no drummers, so we had Cody like played this like cover band like in high school that was like 80s cover band like Poison and all that stuff. And
oh really?
And I don't think it was quite his thing. It's just he was actually pretty good at it though. But he just like, hey, I'll play drums for you guys, and so he just came over and I had this crappy little drum set, and he was playing. And then I think one day it was just weird because Cody's just such a good songwriter, like he kept sitting there telling me hey, you should do this like on the vocal wise, and I couldn't do it. And then he got up, and I'm like, well, I'll go on the drums, and he'd show me what he was talking about, and then we kind of looked at each other like, maybe I should play drums, because I for some reason actually was better than him, and then he was better at that part, so we did a swap pretty much.
Yeah, you're like, you didn't want to trade?
Yes, because he just could sing good. He just was good at harmonizing. He tried to explain to us how to harmonize, and we just couldn't get it. And he just got up there and got it. So I was like, well, shit, let's just switch. And then
that makes the most sense.
And it worked out. And then I got really into the drums. So I'd sit there and I'd get out of school like 3:30 or whatever in the afternoon. I'd play my drums every night till like 9 o'clock at night, or until the cops came, almost every day.
Really?
Like nonstop. I didn't go hang out much or anything. And then when we finally got our band really going, every Saturday, it didn't matter. Like we practiced every night, and then every Saturday we'd practice from like 10 in the morning all the way till whenever the cops came.
How many times did the cops
A
come?
lot. It was funny because like my brother was always wanted, so it'd always be funny because they'd be coming to tell us to be quiet. You'd see him panic and run out the back.
Oh my god! Yeah, he's like, I gotta
Shit.
go.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, nope, they're just for us. Tell us to turn down again.
Oh, okay. That's fucking funny. Yeah. As far as it was the Chesterfields that started first.
It was actually the Hybrids.
It was the Hybrids.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, because that's what. Well, because the thing is like, it was like technically me, Jason, and then Cody, and then I knew TJ from when he was a kid, and I was always teaching him bass. And then when we were putting our band together, I was like, man, we should ask TJ if he'd play bass for us. And then we went to school the next day, and Dusty McDill came up to me and like, hey, this kid TJ wants to play bass for your band. I go, that's so funny because we were just gonna go ask him if he wanted to play in our band. So it's kind of funny he was gonna ask.
Okay, yeah, that's convenient.
And so we let him in, and then Jason, like he got a girlfriend there for a while, and he started getting the whole pussy whip thing going. You couldn't get him to come to practices or anything because always the girl came first, kind of thing.
She
So
required his attention.
yeah, so we ended up kicking him out, and then that's when we formed the Hybrids. So that's like was our first actual band was the Hybrids, and we started actually getting pretty big with that. I remember we made a little cassette tape, back when there's cassette tapes, and played in Douglas one time, and like some kid that went to Casper shows, like the shows that are huge, and gave it to the guy that promotes or whatever, and they asked us to play, and I remember getting there, and we weren't used to playing. We were used to playing in Newcastle, where you had maybe 50 to 100 people, and then you get to this little it was like a North Casper clubhouse, but I mean, there was like 300 to 500 kids in there. And you're just like, holy cow, this is a lot of people for us, And,
Yeah.
and we just played the one time, and instantly we were like the biggest band in Casper. Like everybody came to our shows like that quick.
That's
I got
lucky,
huge
man.
fast. Yeah. It's kind of when Green Day got big, though, so it's kind of one of those things, like we kind of had close to that sound, so it's just instant popularity, like right away.
Was it, has that changed more nowadays, I guess? Or did it start to change as far as music interests went on? Because I know that, like, the punk rock and all that was pretty cool there during that time period.
Yeah, like different styles started getting big, because you had Green Day had that poppy stuff, and then you had stuff like Pennywise and like Strung Out that were like kind of more aggressive and more like Strung Out's got a little bit heavy metal mixed in there, and that's kind of what broke up the Hybrids a little bit, because Cody's more into the poppy stuff like Screech and Weasel and the Queers and all that stuff, and me and TJ are like listening to like Lagwagon, Strung Out, and Pennywise that were getting more fast and aggressive, and so Cody kind of went his way and we went our way, and we started Chesterfield, and that's when we started playing kind of more like faster punk and
okay. I was gonna ask you what was the difference? As far as having two, because it's just two bands that you're in. Yeah. So what was the benefit, or what was the reason for having two instead of maybe just adding or changing one?
It just because I don't know, when you play music out, when you get out in the music industry, if you try to change your sound too much, people end up not liking you at all. Because if you got the fans that love that pop punk sound, and all of a sudden you're sounding like Pennywise, and then you got because some punks like it all. Like me, I like all the different kinds. It don't matter to me. It's all punk rock. But you always got the ones that that pussy pop shit, or So you kind of have those different. So when you start going that route where it's getting heavier, you're like losing all those fans.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So if you separate it, then you don't lose any fans. Really, you just got your certain fans for this band, and then.
Yeah, right. That's convenient. That way you can just if you want to play, if you're having a mood to play something poppy, I guess you just go play for that with that band or something like that.
And I mean, there's times even there's times where me and Tina it'd be fun to do like an 80s cover band. Just be fun because I saw this band, it was fun because they're down in Phoenix, and it was like metal school or something like that, and we just got, and they're playing like Motley Crue and everything, just as good if not better than Motley Crue. But then the cool part is we got to meet them afterwards, and they all take off their wigs, and they're actually punk rock guys that just did a metal band for fun, So, but they put on the stage show, had the chicks on the stage, and put on an awesome show. But it made it look fun. You're like, that'd be a fun thing to do, just put on wigs and put on this super awesome 80s show,
Well, plus I don't know how well this works, but maybe there's people who would, if they were hiring a band to come do something and they wanted to hear their favorite 80 songs or whatever for some event, they'd be like, hey.
Because you wouldn't want to lump it in your band, because if you got your band like Chesterfield, you wouldn't want to go do that because it's not the same, So you can make this little alter ego, that nobody knows about. You can even change your names; people wouldn't even know it's you, kind of thing.
Plus, it'd be kind of weird to go up to a band and be like, "Hey, I know you don't do this, but could you start?"
Yeah, we get that a lot actually. We'll get we had Pam from the Pizza Bar, hey, you guys are good, but do you think you guys could do some covers for us and play it? And we're like, no.
No. Do I do covers?
No, we write our own stuff, man.
Yeah, right. Okay. So then that's you've always done the drums for both bands?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Can you sing?
You actually can now. I'm a lot better
okay.
now. Like, I was, when we first started, like, I couldn't do the harmonizing, but I was always good at doing the 80s, like, high-pitched vocals and stuff like that, so I
Yeah.
can do that stuff really good. So that's what everybody used to, like, make me sing Iron Maiden for fun because I could hit all the notes and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Yeah, you got to do the cover band thing then, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess do you have since you've kind of explained that they're different bands, I mean, do you have a favorite, or does it just depend on your mood as far as
Favorite bands that I listen to?
Well, you do that, but like as far as the Chesterfields and Hybrids go.
It's just hard to say. You like something about both. Yeah, I wouldn't say one's better than the other. I mean, it still sounds like, to us, it still sounds either way like us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that one's more, like TJ sings more cleaner on one band, and then the other one he's more aggressive and. So,
okay.
But it just depends, like you said, your mood kind of. Like sometimes you just want to have that show where you get more adrenaline off the faster, heavier stuff. You get more pumped. More
Right.
than anything. But really, when it comes down to it, it's the crowd, that gets you pumped. So like you feed off each other. So when you hear that crowd, just that roar of the crowd, boom, that energy comes back at you, and then your friggin' adrenaline's flying. Then you're playing twice as good. You're jumping around twice as much, and then they're getting even more pumped because you're doing
then
that.
they see that.
Yeah, so it's kind of you build off each other kind of thing.
All right, I guess. Okay, well then, as far as what you listen to, then favorite bands.
My favorite band's Strung Out.
Strung Out.
Hands down. It was just weird what made me like the band so much in weird ways, because I did start out loving 80s rock. I was like into Guns N' Roses, Poison, all that shit.
Right.
Then I kind of started getting to the punk rock and listening to like what Cody did, Screechy Weasel and the Queers, and then all of a sudden I listened to this band Strung Out, and it's like they had this 80s element to them because their singer is super amazing singer, and so because I used to love Skid Row when I was into the 80s stuff,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sebastian Bach can hit those notes, but they had amazing guitar players too. And then I hear Strung Out, and their guitar players are super, both of them too. They could both solo amazingly.
Mm-hmm.
The drummer was super awesome. Like everybody was good in the band. You're like, this is awesome. This is like,
This is what I've been
this
looking
is a
for.
punk rock version of Skid Row. You know what I mean, kind of thing. So it made me instantly love them, and every album's still awesome to this day. They've been playing for 35 years, and like every album you think, oh, they're getting older, it's probably gonna start
They're
going
gonna
downhill, and
teeter out.
it doesn't. I don't know why. They just like still keep writing super awesome songs
Oh,
the whole
damn.
way.
Geez, that's cool that they have that going that long.
Yeah, and they're actually on the same label as Cody's band, Teenage Bottle Rocket, Fat Records. And the crazy part is they've been on Fat the whole time. They've been dedicated to him. They've been offered to be on like huge record labels, and they said they turned every huge record label down, because what they like about Fat Records is like it's kind of like a family, but they get pretty much, Fat Records puts out their albums, but they get all control of all their shirts. Like when they tour, they get all the money, everything. They get everything. Like, so you get you can go, and plus they don't want this to happen. You see it a lot. Is that you got a cool underground following that you've had for years and stuff, then you get signed on a major label, and all of a sudden you're a big hit to all the like wannabe people that listen to bands just because they're famous or like that, and then as soon as like MTV doesn't want you anymore and throw you to the side, kind of thing, then you're a nobody because you lost all your fans that were dedicated to you for being
Right.
underground, and then you get the people that the America's Got Talent type people, that, oh, I love it because it was on TV, and then, oh, next year this person's famous and they forgot about that guy already,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's just a phase.
One hit wonders everywhere, and
And
it's destroyed bands. You see a lot of bands that got destroyed from going to like MTV and stuff like that because of that.
Yeah, and especially now, like MTV's like
They're dead now.
like that's not what it was.
Yeah, now it's just talk shows and
I think they and I think they've even got like reality TV shows and
pretty
stuff like
much
that.
the whole time.
I don't think it has anything to do with music anymore.
It's just stupid because what I loved about MTV is like how it's cool that you can get all the music you want now. Like you can go find the new album or this, but what I thought what made a band so big to me when I was younger is like, say, like they had a video on MTV, but you didn't get to see it when you wanted to. You'd sit in front of that TV for hours
Hoping
just to
your
watch
song
that one song would be on,
Yeah.
and that excitement. You don't have that anymore. Now it's like you could just go look it up and
It's
find it.
instantaneous reward.
Yeah.
I mean, we all probably have like computers in our
Yeah.
pockets.
Oh,
and-
they got a new album out, and you could go like even before the album's out. There's at least one song already on there, and
yeah.
you could listen to it. But I always just love that feel of just I was sitting there watching MTV, and all of a sudden, like your favorite band's on TV, and you're like, whoa, it's a new video, and you get on there and you're all stoked and watch it.
Yeah.
And call your buddy up on the old dial-up phones, like, hey, there's a new Skid Row song.
Get on MTV right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now you don't have that feel anymore. Like, it's
Yeah, okay, I'm sure then that makes a little bit of sense of what's maybe why they started disappearing or stopped doing
Yeah.
that, which is a bummer. But I always even liked it when I was a really little kid. My mom would have put on like VH1 or something like that, and then they'd be just doing music videos and playing music or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think a lot of it was just whatever was popular at the time. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
like that's when Panic at the Disco's their first. It was like I Write Sin's Not a Tragedy just came out, and so of course when I was little, I loved it when I'd be getting ready for school or get up in the morning and that was playing. I could hear it in the background and I just watch the video. Yeah. And but I always and especially that fits for me because I mean I do watch TV, but a lot of times I'll just even put on a show I've seen a million times just for like background noise because I'm either working on this or I'm doing cleaning, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
So that's why I would kind of like that because that way music could just play. But I don't know.
I thought a cool thing too is like even with like Green Day, say for instance, we were listening to them before they're ever big. So it's kind of one of those weird things that, you know, because like music like that back then, you're like, that shit will never be on MTV. And then I just remember one night staying up watching TV and it's like 1 a.m. and all of a sudden Green Day with Longview was on. I'm like, holy shit, they're on MTV. Like, you know, just to see a band go from just being underground that they're going to be on MTV now. Like,
so you listened to them when they were like underground?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I even have records and stuff before.
Oh my God.
You know, they even got
That's
big
cool.
and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure I have one that there's only like maybe like 15 copies of the 7-inch and stuff like that. But it was just cool to see, like the Offspring, same thing. We're listening to them way before they're ever big. So, and that pretty much, I swear to God, like within the same week, those two videos were on MTV, like Green Day and the Offspring. And then right there was the gateway for punk rock to be on MTV, you know, right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's crazy.
No, I don't think I've never seen like someone that was just playing and then all of a sudden like watched them become big before. But.
Even like AFI, like for instance, like I remember, you know, we went to, you know, Rapid City, you know, and we played with them and it was like 40 people there, you know, and it's like, but they were a band that kind of screamed a lot, you know, getting back then, like screaming if a girl heard it, oh yeah, they scream and stuff. And I remember coming to parties here and listening to them and then girls would be like, who the fuck are you listening to? And they dog it. And then like 5 years later, all of a sudden they're fucking huge on MTV and all of a sudden, oh, I got the new AFI. Oh, the band that you were making fun of me for listening to like
you're
5 years ago.
You don't get to listen to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that away because you were calling them shit 5 years ago, but now since they're on MTV, they're cool.
No, and sometimes I think it like for in my case, I know that it depends on like who I've met and stuff. Because there's like AFI for example, I didn't even know who they were until I met Connor, and so you know I got to see some of that because I think I always with some of that music I just kind of saw like
they changed a lot when they started out. It was straight just punk, like hardcore punk, like
I think a lot of
fast
them
punk, and then all of a sudden one day they kind of started mellowing out and kind of getting this like goth sound a little bit, but it was just kind of light a little bit in there. And then they had this album called Black Sails, like was super awesome because it was a mix of like the punk and the metal, or punk and like kind of the emo in a sense together. And it was a super awesome album. And then they kind of like all of a sudden they got signed on like, you know, a major label, and it kind of got softer there. But a lot of people thought he went soft just to make it big, you know, but a lot of it because he had to get that throat surgery that people get from screaming so much. So he had to start singing more. So then a lot of people started calling them sellouts, kind of the same thing, just because, you know, he's starting to sing. Same thing with Avenged Sevenfold, same thing happened. They used to just scream all the time, and then he started singing a lot. It was because he had to. It's just got to the point if he screamed anymore, he ain't gonna be able to sing at all.
Yeah,
you know, kind of thing.
I didn't even think about that, but I always just thought of it as like I don't know, you want to go out and do something different. Like I know that maybe if I started doing music, I think maybe I know what I would want to start doing. But if I started doing that all the time, and you know, I would eventually want to create. In wanting to create, I'd want to do something a little different.
Well, and that's the thing is like when you're writing music, you'll see people go, I like their first sound better. There, blah blah. A certain crowd, you know, always want you to stay that way. But as a band, you're getting bored. I mean, you get bored of your old songs, man. You're sitting there like, play this. And you're like, not again, dude.
Yeah,
I'm sick
that would
of
get
song,
old.
you know. And so you start writing kind of differently, and it's not like you're writing different. Sometimes you're just getting better at your instrument, man. So it's like, oh, I'm doing drum fills I couldn't do before back then, you know, or I'm adding stuff on the guitar because I couldn't do it back then, or I'm singing this way because I couldn't do it back then. And it's not like you're selling out. It's just like you've gotten better over time.
Now you have more room to explore.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And I would want to do that anyway. I mean, like Cage the Elephant. I know, like when they first started, they were trying to just be like. Their first album sounds more like the Pixies or something like that, but and then anymore it's not anything like that at all. But I like that though, and that's why I'm like, no, I kind of like it, because then each album comes out and you're like, I wonder which direction they went.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys done any of that with your bands?
Kinda. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you get bored with stuff, and it's like when you write a new song, you're like, okay, I'm like, we've always written a certain way. I want to do something different, because really at a certain age you start getting burnt out on it, you know. And
right.
Like, we got to do something different. I'm just not gonna like our band at all anymore, you know. So if you got to find different routes, and right now it's like me and TJ been sitting there doing that right now. We haven't written anything for a long time because we're trying to think of something not like so far different that people are like, well, I can't believe they would do that, you know. But just something that just like doesn't sound like the other albums that we've done.
Right. As far as in like within your bands, how I mean, is there anyone that you would, unquote, call a leader, or are you all pretty good at being even?
I would say it
or-
was kind of like me and of this band. I mean, pretty much it's been me and TJ all the way. So it's like it's just we've lost members, gained members, but it's always been me and TJ no matter what. So I'd say like we're kind of I wouldn't say leaders. We always let if you have somebody in the band, we're not like you can't write that part. You got to do what I say. We're not like
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
if you write something cool, that's cool. But at the same time, we're still been doing it for a long time to tell you too that sounds stupid.
Right.
Like not trying to be a jerk, but there's just times where you're putting too much into a song, or or you need to put more into it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I always wondered about that kind of stuff because at first there's some people, and I've totally slacked off on playing any of the guitar or anything like that. But I know there's times where people who did, and they'd be like, "Hey, let's play together" or something like that. I'd always be like nervous, or I'd telling them, "No, I think that sounds stupid. I don't want to like that. I don't want to do that." I think that would be hard at first.
Yeah, it is because you're just trying to be honest without hurting somebody's feelings. Because we had a guitar player when we lived in Medford. Because me and TJ had another band called Private Ryan there for a little bit, and I actually played guitar in it and had a drummer. And it was pretty good. It's kind of pop punk stuff, but we had this guitar player. He was a friggin' awesome guitar player, but he like listened to metal mainly. But he wanted to be in our band, but he would not stop soloing the whole time, and you have to go, dude, you can't solo the whole time. And he goes, well, I'm gonna just play rhythmy, and he just make fun of. We're like, but this is how our band's gonna sound. This is what we are going for. It's not like you started the band or anything, But he was great. But it's like, dude, do a guitar solo. I don't care how fast it is in the middle of the song. That's cool, but he just solo the whole time with it, no matter what. I'd be doing kind of a solo intro kind of thing just to come into the song, and he's trying to solo over the top of a solo, and it's
you're like, stop trying to hog the stage.
And it's just that's how he was. He just wanted to solo, and I go, dude, if you even listen to any metal band, like they're super good, but they still stop and play rhythm no matter what. Like it's not solos the whole time. And
that'd get obnoxious.
Yeah, it's just like nobody cares how fast you can play anymore. Back in the days, like if you're awesome, people that really stood out. But nowadays, people like if you solo too much, they're like bored. They want you to get back to the music.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why it shows in some of the music. Like, I mean, you don't see any more like long like ballads or I don't know.
Metallica songs that are like 12 minutes long.
Jesus, I know. Yeah, I don't see that at all. It's just standard 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe song.
Because people have short attention spans. Man.
That's probably what it is. Yeah, goldfish brains.
Yeah, because that's how it is. I mean, to me, I think what I like when I listen to a song, it might only been 3 minutes, but it was an awesome 3 minutes. So go back and start listening to it again. Go back and listen to it again.
I know. Well, I liked some of those long ones that went on because it's like they were like, I mean, like Stairway to Heaven or something like that.
I don't know. They pulled it off. Like bands like that back then could pull it off. Nowadays, it's like if you did that, it just like
it would be obnoxious.
It'd be. People wouldn't like it.
Well, most of those songs that were long, I liked that there was parts like there's like the slow part and it's just kind of going, and then it's kind of pretty, and then all of a sudden it's like some more hard rock. It changes,
not just staying at one. Cause otherwise, it would get boring. If they didn't go into something different.
Yeah. Is albums. I wanted to talk about that. How many albums are out there that you've been a part of?
Chesterfield. I'm trying to think. We did at least 6 or 7 in the Hybrids. We've done 3, and then Private Ryan we did 1. And we've done a few, and then we've done a few like compilation albums. We've done a split with a band from Denver called Dr. Neptune one time. So.
Oh, okay. As far as how do you feel about the albums you have out, and I mean, creating any more?
Oh yeah, we're creating more. Some of them you go back and listen to could have been better, and then there's some songs we're like, why don't we fucking play that song anymore? It's fucking amazing. Like we only played it back then or a few times and never played it again. And I'll go listen to the album and go, why do we not play that one? It's like one of the best songs we ever written. It just at the time you just didn't feel that way, for some reason, and then you go back and listen to it and realize it's a masterpiece.
Oh, that's cool. I know that. I mean, how'd you feel about the first one that he ever did?
First album we ever did?
Yeah.
Actually turned out way better than I expected us to be, because
really?
I think what it was is like we just practiced. Like I said, we practiced all the time, so we didn't go from writing crappy demos. Like we had a few, we made ourselves on cassette with just push and record on like a little like microphone or whatever, and just recorded live, and it sounded like shit so bad it wasn't even funny. But then it's just like when we first got to record our first Chesterfield album, we knew this guy Stan Butoff. He lived over in Rapid, and he played in a band that came here all the time called Baby Snakes, and they played at like the Bronco Bar back then, but they did 80s covers, and they were super good at them. But he had this big studio, and he just like heard about us playing, so he came and watched us practice. He goes, "Hey, I'll record you guys." And we went over to rap, and he had this deal too with like what was it, musicians, what is it called, disc makers. So he was able to get us a good deal on printing it too on top of recording it. So he recorded it and he did a good job because he had like the old reel-to-reels and stuff, but he just did it super good. I mean, like we never heard ourselves on a good recording before, and did it awesome. And then it was kind of the point where our parents heard it and like, well, you guys are actually good, like because our of course your parents at the time, oh, you're wasting your fucking time, like, and then they actually heard it, well, you guys are actually good at what you do, and then so he got us, like then our parents all pitched in to get us like put out a cassette because back then it was cassettes. That's how old I am.
Yeah, right. Cassette.
So it's kind of cool. So we got to put it out on cassette, and it came in like a little like red color that looked all awesome and stuff.
That's cool. Especially like once you had it recorded, it probably added some kind of legitimacy to it. So
and then now when I listen to it, it's more special because our guitar player, Jason, died in a plane crash when we were younger, and so it's always good to go listen to because it's the only spot I have to go hear his voice again.
It's a little time capsule.
Yeah, so always, and then you go back and listen to it. And even like when I talk to his parents now, like they always talked about how like they didn't realize how good our band was until like he passed away, and then they kind of paid attention and like realized he wow, he was really talented.
That's probably the same as you going back to hear his voice, and then they're like listening to the whole album, and they're like, man, you guys were actually really good.
Yeah, exactly. And we do like I'll go back and listen, go, wow, we weren't sloppy or nothing. We played perfect, back then. But like I said, we're dedicated, musicians. So.
Yeah, well, that's putting in that. You guys were obviously putting in the grind. I
think
that stuff done.
What would have helped us, I think, is if we would actually stayed here and tried to move to Oregon, like I said, because the thing is, you get there, you're living paycheck to paycheck. So to go on tour, it was like scrounging for money to go on tour. But like say like Cody, like his band ended up being big, but he was smart and stayed here, so like he could live with his parents, but it wasn't like he was living there. It's almost like I'll sleep here like, and then I'm on tour the whole time,
right? But
it just made it to where he didn't have to worry about money because he could go work at Deckers, build up a huge check, and go on tour for a long time and get noticed.
I always thought that too, because at first, like when I first started working there, and I met him and all that, and it was like my first instinct was to think like, oh, what you still doing here? What are you still doing here? Like, go do your band. I don't know. I thought of it as like he wasn't working on it and he was just here, like living in his parents' basement. But then after like I talked to him and I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, no, that's smart, because he can just get that paycheck, and he
didn't have to worry about rent, say if he could, he went on tour, he got back, it wasn't like, oh crap, now I got to figure out rent and all that stuff. Like, it's like cool, his parents took care of it. It's not like he was a burden to the parents, like he's gone, so it's just he's borrowing a room for when he gets back. And
and I think about even trying to get this started. Like I had the laptop from when I graduated. My dad gave it to me for my graduation gift, but everything else, it's like I've had to slowly accumulate myself, and that all costs money. It'd be so nice if you were just like didn't have to worry about paying rent. You could just throw all that money at equipment. I'd have had this going way sooner.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, eventually he's like helping his parents out because he is making the money off his music, so he's, able to buy them things or put money back towards them, helping them out, And so sometimes me and you are like, fuck, man, we should have just stayed in Newcastle, because then we could have done the same thing, and then we could just went and toured all the time, because that's where you get your exposure is tour. You can put your stuff on the internet all day long and try to get people to listen. You're only going to get so many people to listen to, but when you play a show and you go to a small town and play in a kid's basement, it's like you get a personal relationship with every one of those people in that basement, one-on-one talk and bullshit after the show. Then you got permanent fans right there, and so the next time you come play that town again, all those kids told, oh dude, you missed out, this band was awesome, and then 20-30 more people come to that next show, and then it gets bigger and bigger. So but if you went there and you built that relationship but then you never went back there, then it just dissipates again. But if you were to keep going and doing that spiral of touring, you're hitting the same towns, building the fans up, and that's what makes you big, because all labels will ask you that too. Like they'll ask, oh, your band's good, so but do you guys tour? And that's like their first question, because if you're like, well, a couple times, then they're like, well, maybe later we'll think about your band, here's your CD, kind of kick you out the door.
Keep working at it.
But if they were to see that you're out there touring and working your butts off, because like I read things on Green Day, like why they made it so big, those guys would like pack up in a Pinto and fit all their equipment in a Pinto with themselves and tour everywhere and just sleep on people's floors and shit, and just stand on the side of the road, bum money off people to keep touring. And that's how they did it. They just played and played and played, whether they're poor or not.
I mean, if you're willing to put in that sacrifice, I mean,
sleeping on the floor of some crazy person's house. I mean, we've done that a lot. Like I remember, like, it's a huge party, and you just pretty much got to find a spot on the floor in the corner of a huge party. And I remember waking up to this kid bunny hopping his bike over the top of me while I was sleeping. So it's just like, you got to be willing to be able to put up with that shit. But you learn to do it. It's like I just put my headphones into my music, crank it full blast, and go to sleep.
Oh, that's cool though. I mean, but especially I'm sure those are like the days you really like. It probably like maybe at the moment sucks, but then you look back on it and you're like,
I miss it.
I lived the most though when I was doing that, or I don't know, maybe. I know times change, but
Yeah, you did it. It's just fun, you know. It's like now it's like we get motel rooms and it's like we're old people now. It's like watch TV afterwards, but I just miss
In your
you know,
bunny slippers.
yeah, like but I just miss like just sleeping on random floors and stuff and meeting people and you know, and you meet cool people. And like I said, we've met people that were just nobodies and now they're big bands, you know, like just slept on the same floor they were in somebody's living room, you know, and going, damn, I can't believe I hung out with those guys and now they're huge.
Well, and that's just it. I wanted to touch on something you mentioned about like with the internet. I think like it's opened up a lot. You can do a lot with it, and really, I mean, it is nice that you can push that out there. I talked to you about my idea of pity points. You know, once I really try to push this out there on people, yeah, I mean, it'll be there and people will see it, but there's no guarantee if anyone's going to click on it or do anything.
I mean, you got your Facebook feed, you know, and you could see so many like suggestions of bands to listen to, and half the time I don't even click on them, you know, like sometimes I will, you know, but not very often. But like I said, but if you're playing somebody's basement, you got definite fan right there.
Nothing beats word of mouth and like making, and especially like even with what I'm doing, like so far, like it's gotten easier, and I think it's gotten better as I've started like meeting more people and making connections. And I mean, like I said, there's even some upcoming interviews I have where it was just because of you know someone I know or someone that I've already interviewed, or like my boss, she is related to one of my next interviews, or you know something like that. And then because I've started doing this, now people are like, oh, okay, like that's what you're doing.
It's about connections too, you know, who you meet. Because like I said, for like the sucky part is we had the best connection in the whole world, and we kind of lost it. And it was like the bass player Pop Roach's dad. He's the one that recorded our Destination Nowhere EP, and we lived here in Newcastle. And then you get a call from this guy saying, yeah, like I heard about you guys' band. I think you guys are really good. You might know my son's band, Papa Roach. And I'm like, no way. I thought it was just fake, you know, some guy just being stupid and faking me out. And then I went and told everybody in the band, I go, dude, I swear to God, the bass player, Pop Roach's dad, just called me. They're like, no way. And I swear to God, I got his number right here. And what happened was our guitar player, Jesse's mom, when she moved to Oregon, she worked at the Mill Casino there. And he played music as well. And she goes, hey, this is my son's band. And he goes, oh, I got a son. He's in Papa Roach. And she goes, here, check this out. And he said he wasn't even going to really pay attention to it, but he put it in a CD player on the way home, and all his kids were listening to it going, Dad, who is this? And the kids all got excited, so thought we sounded awesome. So that's what made him pay attention to us. And so he called us out, and he went and recorded us and stuff. And then he got us into Papa Roach shows for free a couple times. Got backstage and got to hang out with all of them.
That's awesome.
Stuff. And then it just kind of sucked because we kind of lost the connection of when we got signed on Mental Records. It's kind of one of those things. He wanted to be our producer, and that was his dream job, as being a producer, you know, because he wanted to be like Jay Baumgartner, and he's the guy who did all Papa Roach, Newfound Glory, a whole bunch of bands. And so, like, he was working with us, and then he told us, you know, don't sign to a label without my permission, you know, and stuff. And we kind of went and signed a label without his permission, kind of.
Oh, no.
And I kind of upset him, kind of, you know, so he kind of just threw us to the side. And it's kind of a dumb decision, but we're just young and going, oh, we're on a record label, you know. And,
right. Well, yeah, when you're young, that sounds cool.
You know, and we should have waited out, because obviously he probably could have got us on a major label, you know, instead of some mini label. But like I said, just get excited. Somebody offered you something, and you just took it, and it was stupid.
Well, yeah, it just at the time, it sounds like it's more than what you had. So you were like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it.
I still talk to him. I still have the connections. Like Tobin's little brother from Papa Roach is actually in their band now, like Anthony, and he talks to me all the time and stuff. But now he's like their little like guy on the side that he plays guitar, and he'll do singing, he does the keyboards, and he'll do like some drum stuff. And then this year, at the beginning of the year, like Jerry Horton broke his hand, so he actually got to get up and be the lead guitar player. So was pretty stoked. And then the sucky part is he gets to do a whole tour, and then that stupid virus hit. So it was his chance to be like, oh, I get to play lead guitar for Papa Roach, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, nope, gotta
just
quarantine
kidding.
now.
The world's on fire.
Yeah.
It's in 2020. Buckle up for whatever's next. Anyway,
so it's kind of his luck, you know, thing. Had the spotlight there for a bit.
I know. Well, when what, like after all this, whenever that might be, he might not get his chance after that.
Yeah, because Jerry, obviously his hand will probably be better by then. So
yeah, right. When I did want to talk to you about that as far as record labels and how dealing with that. Like, how's that been? How's that experience been?
It just sucks because they're all about themselves, really. I think it depends on the label you got. Like Cody, like Fat Records, that's the biggest punk label all the time. And Fat Micah Hurt's a dick, but he's the type that, like, he's for you making your money. You know, he's not out there to dick you around. It's like he puts you out so that way you could be successful and stuff like that. But what we dealt with is more like a know-it-all that's trying to tell us, like, his, because the guy on the label, we had two guys. One guy, like, grew up kind of poor like we did and stuff, but he lived in LA. You know, he worked on parts of like Batman and stuff because he did filming and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, you know, and you got the other guy that's rich and he owns McDonald's and stuff like that, and it's kind of pampered.
Yeah.
You know, kind of attitude, you know, so he'd just argue with us about stuff all the time. Like, well, I toured. And it's like, dude, you toured like 2 places. We toured way more than you need to argue with you about stuff all the time. And then, like, we were trying to tell him, you know, you need to send us to Germany and stuff, because he signed another band down there called G.G. Elvis and the TCP band, I think, but it was like all old school punkers from the 80s that are like famous to the punk scene, you know, like it's a super group, so they started paying attention to them more and sending them to Germany. But they would spend $7,000 to put us in Alternative Press magazine just for an ad for Chesterfield. $7,000, which nobody reads magazines anymore.
Yeah, no.
When we're like, for $1,000 more, you could have sent us to Germany, and what did they waste their money on to put us in a magazine?
Yeah, you're like, that's
and that
not
was
what
a
I
waste
want.
of money. You could have taken that, put us on tour. Like I said, touring's where get your exposure, you know.
Well, if you were gonna do an ad anyways, just like put it on the internet. You could have done that for free $99.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And it's cool to be in that magazine. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
It's
that's
cool. We
cool.
got to add in that big magazine that everybody reads. And,
It feels cool too.
but everything's internet now, you know. So like, pretty much it's a waste now.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like, I guess it's cool to be in that magazine, but you could have had both the Germany trip and an ad if you had just done it on the internet and gone to Germany.
I mean, I think the only perk we got out of that guy's like, since he owns McDonald's, is like the whole tour he had like gift card for McDonald's every time he went somewhere.
Oh, really?
But then you get sick of McDonald's after a while, like, ooh, free McDonald's. And at first it was cool, you know, and then like now you're like, man, I wonder if we could like trade like this McDonald's gift card to somebody for some cash or something else.
Yeah, cash it out.
Yeah.
I want to go eat somewhere else. Okay, so then touring. When I guess I do want to know about all that. I'm sure you've done plenty of it, obviously. But like, what was your first tour? Let's just start there.
Shit, first one
if
was
you
like
can remember, since
back in 2003, I think it was. And it was just kind of small. It was our first small, you know, like it was with that band Dr. Neptune we did that split with, you know, because he used to come here and play all the time. And so we kind of just went up to like Montana, like Utah, like Colorado, just kind of this mid area and stuff. And it wasn't bad. We had to pack in TJ's car because we didn't have a van or anything like that. So we literally had to put one of our band members in the seat and then put my drums on top of him.
So it wasn't a comfortable tour.
And I remember we got like maybe to Lusk, and it was like road construction, and it was like a half hour long. So he's sitting back there all crunched anyway. So we had to take all the equipment out just so he can get up and walk around.
Yeah, his legs
get
are numb. He
uncomfortable.
just drops.
Then put him back in there, bury him back into the car again.
You guys have to take turns.
Oh, kind of, yeah. And so it was fun for that reason, but the shows started out good. The only thing I had that sucked right away is there was a chick that happened to be one of our shows here. Like she lived in Billings, and we played there. And I was like, and it's kind of one of those things, you met a girl and didn't want to hang out with her again after that. And then she shows up at the show, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, she's there and kind of hooked up stupidly, you know. And then we get like 3 shows in, like we got clear across Montana, and all of a sudden her and some other friends showed up, but then their vehicle broke down. And so they were stuck with us the whole fucking tour. So it got to the point like where she was just like so in love with me, like, and wouldn't leave me alone. Every show was just miserable. I just wanted to go hang out with other chicks. There's all these chicks at these shows.
You're like, I don't think you understand what this is.
And then it got to like when we got to like Nevada, finally I just turned around and go, I don't fucking like you. Leave me the fuck alone. And I made her cry, and I felt bad and hurt her feelings. And then she cried on TJ's arm for a half hour going, you played me. And stuff like that. And then I felt bad for him. And
You're breaking up the band, Yoko.
Yeah. And then the sucky part is then we get all the way home, and they still had no ride home, so they're stuck at my house for like 2 weeks until somebody can get them. Yeah, so it's a fun, interesting tour. I mean, it would have been fun with, out that. But one of the shows was awesome because we played at an arcade, so it was kind of cool because we played at the arcade. Then we got to sleep there, and it had a nice, like, showers there. But the guy gave us, like, things to play video games all night and had nachos we could eat out of the snack bar. And had nachos and shit. So it's kind of a cool little place to hang out and play video games and drink beer and shit.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
If she wasn't there, it would have been better, but
yeah, you're like, you ruined that tour. Well, no, it sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was still fun, It's just like you said, you want to go out and hang out with everybody else, and you got this chick clinging to you everywhere you went, like,
that's
wanting your attention the whole time.
It sounds like the fun, like the things that you would imagine that are awesome and fun about touring and that band life.
Yeah,
it's like having someone screw that up. You're like, that's come on.
Yeah, but it was fun stories, and later, you're like, dang. And The sucky part is like when we get back home too. The worst part is her friend ended up liking me, and then so it made them start fighting with each other. And I was like, oh great, I just can't wait for both of you to leave now.
Yeah, right. You are not coming with on the next tour.
Yeah. It did happen again. Yeah, I definitely sent her home and haven't talked to her since.
Yeah. Ouch. As far as how has touring changed? I guess since the early days to maybe more recent days.
I mean, difference is now is that we like can't. A lot of times, like we've gotten to where we get more money, and so we can stay in motel rooms. So that makes it a more comfortable type of thing, you know. But shows have changed quite a bit too. Like just trying to advertise for them is totally different. I mean, you got the internet and all that stuff, but you know, a lot of people are like seriously like so into Facebook they'd rather sit at home and watch your band on Facebook than come to your shows sometimes.
That's so weird to me, and especially like with this coronavirus thing, a lot of people were doing stuff on the internet, and then some people were saying, "Oh, like look how powerful the internet is. We could start doing this regularly." I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
It's not the same. I'll listen to some of them and go, "That's cool," you know, because there'll be mixed members playing with different members of other bands doing cover songs for fun, you know, and it's cool. But yeah. The excitement of a concert to me is sitting at that concert, feeling that kick drum like hit you in the chest, and the guitar is like, you know, just the feel of it. Like it's not the same.
Well, just sitting on my couch, just comfortably watching a Facebook video, and then just going about my day. That sounds boring. But like when I went to a concert in Salt Lake City, I went to it was a Cage the Elephant concert, and yeah, that was the fun part. Was like, well, and I was nervous to go all by myself, I guess. So my sisters, I was like, hey, I'll buy you guys tickets if you come with. And yeah, we like quickly drove all the way, like what is that, like a 10-hour trip or something like that, all the way there, got a hotel like that night and there was bands, you know, opening for them and stuff like that, and you know, lesser known bands that they were letting play, but like all those people, like to some extent it sucked because everyone was just standing, and after hours of like these sweaty bodies pushed against you, yeah, and there's some people that stink, or some chick flicks her sweaty hair back and whips you in the face,
or you just get the big heavy fat guy with his shirt off that jumps up and he comes back on your face and smells gross swag. I've had that happen really bad one time. Like it's like, oh gross, I like got on my lip and everything. I was like,
yeah, no, everyone was exchanging their sweat with each other, and it's towards the front, you know, there's people shoving and pushing. They want to be as close to the band as possible, and yeah, there's one of my sister's, the younger one, she was I mean, she's like only 2 years younger than me, but she's just little, and I was like trying to hold on to her because I was like, you're gonna get trampled and die. But yeah, it was still so much fun, and we walked out and we were freaking
I always got to the front. Like I'm always the type, I'm to the front when it's my favorite band, and like I'll hold my ground. You got people trying to pull you out, try to take your spot, or some chick trying to be all pretty, like you know, like flirting with you to get your spot. It's like, no, it's not gonna work. This is my favorite band.
I didn't come here for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I know there was like some people that would be like, and this has happened I've seen this happen a few times. There's like, you know, they don't want you doing it, but you smell, you're like, there's someone smoking weed in here. So I'm like trying to weave my way through the crowd. I'm like, all right, I'll just save my spot, but I'm going to go find that. Sniff it out.
You can smell it. Yeah.
Security gets all pissed off.
Or even the bands, like I like Strung Out, like one of the coolest concerts I saw him do is he was cool. He just lit up a joint, and I remember the security guard going, you can't do that to the singer. And he just kept smoking, and he walked up to all the people in the front of the crowd and started letting everybody take a hit and shit. But he just made it awesome because he just like, as soon as he got done giving everybody a hit, right as he flicked friggin' joint, man, the song just broke in. Like it's like, like cued so perfect. I was like, that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. But that's awesome that he just did it anyway. He didn't care what the security guard said. He just fucking just let everybody smoke in the front.
Yeah, well, what are they gonna do? Like cancel it?
Yeah, well, you could tell the guy was just like trying to threaten him, but then, you know, everybody just ignored him. But there's a lot of fans there, so I think the guy knew he probably got his ass kicked.
Yeah, so you're outnumbered, buddy. Sorry, you're just a security guard.
So, yeah, just keep your mouth shut and just let the concert go on.
Yeah, right. I guess any other like touring, I'm sure the maybe earlier days were much weirder than as it went on, but
it's always cool. It's just a different generation. Like it seemed like people are way more into music back in the day. Like nowadays it's like people, like I said, they still like listen to music, but nowadays it's just like people don't like get into it as much as they used to before. It's like everybody's wild the whole time and stuff. Now it's like people like don't like to stage dive anymore or mosh that hard. You offend somebody for bumping into them, and
right.
So it's a little more PC now, so it's not as fun.
It's ruined it. Well, and it seems like I'm only basing this off of like movies and other things that people have talked about. As far as it almost seems like it was a lifestyle, especially like during like the big I guess all throughout up until more recently, where it was a lifestyle. There's people who even weren't playing music; they were like going to bands or to concerts all the time. And
it was a thing to do. Like I just remember, it's like when you like we were younger, it's like let's go to Rapid. We got to go to a show. It's all about going to a show. It didn't even matter if they're a good band or not. It's like, oh, there's a show going on in Rapid. It's this band and this band. You didn't have no idea who they are, but it was all everybody went to shows. That's how it was. It's like, and then you end up discovering a lot of good bands just because you went to those shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I would want to do too. Like sometimes it doesn't even matter what it is, movies and I want to do it with more concerts too. But of course, as soon as I start thinking I need to start doing that, this shit happened. But yeah, I would want to go to concerts and go see and meet, like, I guess, see other bands that show up, because there's some of them, like you said, there's if you wanted to see a band up and coming, or maybe like before they got big or something, it'd be really cool to see them.
Or you get weird scenes like we played in Boise, Idaho, and I was kind of irritated with the crowd because literally all these people showed up to the show to hang out outside. Like, they didn't go for any band. It's like they went there just to socialize, and nobody came in. There's like 2 kids out of all those kids, and there's probably like 60 kids outside, and they all just sat outside and hung out and didn't even watch. They didn't come for any band. They didn't go to any band. The show was over, and all the bands are like kind of going out there talking shit to them. Then I almost got in a fight. This chick spit in my face. I'm like, why are you even fucking here? I go, you guys are fucking just pay the money and stuff to hang outside. And then she started calling me something, like called me an old dude. And back then I was only like 25, so I wasn't really that old. But
you were like,
she spit in my face and all this shit. And I was so pissed. Like, I just wanted to punch her, but can't. So, but the funny part is, like, we met these chicks that were working at the diner across the street, and I went and told one of them, and she went and took that girl and cornered her for me, So it's like the funny part about making friends when you're there. Yeah. But I was pissed because, she spit in my face, that adrenaline. You're just like, I can't hit a girl, but I want to so bad.
Yeah, you're
right
like
now.
shaking. You're so mad.
Well, just the bands are irritated. It's like we couldn't get any of them to come, and it's like, why'd you even come?
Yeah, it was like, because if you weren't
going
to be there, like, why am I even playing?
Go to the roller skating rink somewhere or something if you're going to just go hang out or
There's
something.
social there. Yeah, I'm sure there are places for you to do just that, like, a bar or something like that.
Let's go to the show and then not watch the show.
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, I would not have driven
weird.
all the way to Salt Lake City just to hang out outside.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's weird.
Some scenes people are weird, or they just want to be posers and shit like that.
Yeah, okay, I don't get that. I'm glad I can't relate to that. As far where have you all toured? As far, like, I mean, you've probably gone out of the country.
We've done like pretty much everywhere, all the way out to Chicago, clear to like California, like pretty much every state. We just haven't hit like New York or Florida or nothing like that, and stuff like that. We want to.
Oh, right.
It's kind of just a little far away, but we'll get there. Get closer.
Yeah, right. I guess, how is that as far as scheduling now? Because I mean,
it's tough because being a manager, like.
Yeah.
I have to take vacation time to do it, or else they pretty much won't let me,
Right, because then, they'll just find someone who would stay.
Yeah, and that's a sucky part, too, because I'm in that spot where I'm not going to give up music, but I got to find a way to find a job that I can still make good money, but I can leave a little bit more often.
Well, yeah, and I talked about this in my last interview, but there is something about, like, as far as the jobs I've worked, they've all been, nothing stellar or anything like that, but I've kind of liked that I can... It's something that occupies a portion of my brain, and I used to get angry about that or get bummed out, or I'm like, what am I doing? But once I started pursuing the stuff that I wanted to do on the side and all that, now that time is kind of fine, because then I'll listen to podcasts, and then sometimes I'll just have my headphone in just so that I can hear people less. So then I'll like use it for thinking time and like brainstorming and stuff like that. So I can use that other part of my brain to kind of work on this stuff. So I kind of consider it like I'm working on my stuff while I'm at my job.
Like I said, if I didn't have a family, I'd probably do it anyway, because being poor and playing music, I had more fun any day of the week than, making all this money and not getting to do my music,
Yeah.
I didn't mind only having the 10 ramen a week and my 1 beer, just to get to go play shows all the time. Because when you played shows anyway, like, part of your deal's like, hey, part of the deal's a case of beer, or at a bar you get like 5 pitchers of beer or whatever, so you always got your drinks and stuff. And,
yeah. Well,
and meals paid for. And
yeah.
stuff.
I feel like something like with this, I would, as far as, I don't know how far this would go, or like how successful I'd ever be at it. But I always figure all of the experiences I've had, like meeting with people, like talking to them and like sitting down, like, I mean, even my first episode when I did with Connor, and we just sat there and talked for, hours. And then Cooper showed up. We had him on there too. But like, I figure that when I look back on it all, even if it doesn't go anywhere, I'll have done way more than just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, you can say you've done it.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's the same. Like, even if none
being
of
in
your
a
music.
band, like sometimes like shit, I'm not as big as like I ever wanted to be, but at the same time I had the experience. Like I said, I got to hang out with like Pop Roach, I got to hang out Strung Out, my favorite band, and I still get to do that. So I kind of still have that connection. Like I went to Cody's wedding, and it's like almost I was like starstruck. So I'm sitting next to the singer Lagwagon, sitting next to me over here at his wedding, and all the people he grew up idolizing are like in this one room. So I mean, I still get those perks of that.
That's
so
cool.
it makes it exciting still.
Right. What's the process as far as making a song? Like, how do you guys sit down and start writing, and how often do you guys get to work with?
It's changed over the years. It all started with a bowl of weed.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
good
like
idea,
seriously,
man.
well, because it's seriously like you'd be just in there, kind of jamming around. Nobody has any riffs, and just said, like, let's stop and smoke a bowl real quick. And you'd smoke a bowl, and then all of a sudden I just start playing a cool drum beat, and then TJ starts just ripping out this riff, and then you just keep playing, and it's getting awesome, and it just comes to you like all of a sudden, and all of a sudden we'll stop, dude, do that, but I got this idea if you slow down right here, and we'll make it heavy right here, and then go back into that fast part again, and then it just comes together. Like we've written songs in like 5 minutes, like completely done, like in that
That's
little
crazy.
span. But then there's times where it takes you like months to write a song. But like I said, just sometimes that bowl of weed, just the creativity flows like would come out of you for some reason, and that's why I swear to God it's harder to write right now because I don't smoke anymore because of my job. So now when we write a song, it's taken longer because now you got to sit back and think and be more. I don't know, just. You got to think about it instead of like some reason smoking weed, just like you felt it.
Well, it's kind of when you want to be creative, it's like, do you wait till the spark just happens and then hope you can write it down and like get that recorded, or do you sit down and like try to force yourself to get the like cogs turning?
Yeah, we try not to force because I feel if you force, you're just writing a shitty song eventually. Like,
yeah,
because then you're just trying too hard. Like to me, it's like it just has to come to you because that's how it works. Like sometimes. What'll happen is like TJ will be trying to come to you'll have a cool verse getting written, and you're like, what should we go into? And then you kind of have a brain fart. Then he'll be messing around and he'll mess up and go to a wrong note, but that wrong note just was the right note.
Right.
Like, whoa, go to that note, dude. And then you hear like, okay, now do this progression instead, because you'll hear that note fits good with what he was doing to start the next progression, and so then all of a sudden you get that far, and then. And sometimes all a chorus could be is like playing your verse back opposite, kind of thing.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So you just do the chord patterns different, but it makes it to where it fits with the song still because of the melody and stuff. And then a lot of times TJ just he never just writes stuff down and then does a song. It's like he like freestyles everything. Like we start playing, then he just starts making it up as he goes, and then he'll get a piece of paper and write down what he made up in his head.
It's up to someone else to write down what he did.
And he's got a good memory, man. He could sing it and then go down. I go, how do you remember all that? And he goes, I just do. He does. He'll remember every word like right away. Like he was like in school,
That's
like
lucky.
You'd be partying and stuff, and the chick would go, "Oh, my number's this and this," and I don't have a pen and paper teacher, so don't worry, I got it memorized. And he'd remember it the next day. Like I'd go, "Do you have that girl's number?" Son? He goes, "Yeah, it's this." And I go, "How do you remember?" She's, "I don't know. I've always been able to remember
Got a
shit
good memory.
really good." Yeah,
That's no anymore. I have to make sure I write stuff down. I mean, I wouldn't say I have a bad memory or anything like that, but I still. Even at work anymore, I have this. I'm trying to get into the habit of if I all of a sudden get an idea for something, I'm like, "Oh, you should do that." I try to like pull out my phone, and then some of them will be like, "You can't be on your phone." I'm like, "If I don't write this down, I'm not gonna remember
it's
it."
important.
Yeah, leave me alone.
And seeing TJ, like how he said, like he freestyles, but he said what he always does is he thinks of a focus point of the song, what the plot of the song is going to be about in his head. Then he just goes from there. Like so, if he wants to write a song about skateboarding or something, then he goes, "Okay, I'm going to write about skateboarding," and then he just knows to just go from there, and he just starts singing about skateboarding, wrecking, or whatever. Just depends on what he's just having an idea about. It could be political sometimes, a little bit. We're not way into politics. We never have been. I don't know. I just try to steer clear of that stuff. I mean, we all come from Wyoming, and you see different perspectives. You get here, everybody loves Trump, but then I lived in Oregon and they're totally opposite. But everybody has a different lifestyle, so they don't understand each other. Like out here, like coal mines, all that type of stuff for people's livelihoods. This is what they live off of. So when you got a president shutting that stuff down, then automatically we're going to hate that president, or vice versa. Out there, you live out there, it's all college kids, like in Oregon, so everybody wants a free ride and, don't want to have to get a job, so to them, they have a whole different view of how life works compared to out here. So really nobody's wrong in the situation, in my opinion. I just stay out of it because I see both sides. Because if you live over there, you can see what they're striving for. But then you live out here, you just got. It's almost like you got to do like a reality show where we make somebody from Oregon come live in Wyoming and somebody from Wyoming go live in Oregon.
Yeah,
just,
life swap them.
Yeah, life swap, and just see the difference, and probably open their eyes, a little bit to each other's perspective.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, but I think it's good that you went out and you saw that, because I feel like a lot of people who are just kind of isolated in their, like, there's people who are living in the city. They've probably lived in a city their whole life, or they've just been, maybe they went somewhere, but it was like a college, and those big universities may as well just be a town anyway within a town. So, I mean, they've always lived in that life, and people out here, I mean, you see it. A lot of these people lived here their whole lives, or in this area.
And I always feel, like some people, I'm for the coal mines too, in a sense, but at the same time, you got to realize that's going to disappear one day. So you got to get that in your head to maybe you should start thinking of some different form of occupation in your life, because it just is. It's just that we're getting so much technology going on right now. It's going to fade away eventually, and you can't, it sucks. You want it to be there, but it just...
Well, people don't like change always, but and it's even in like environmental stuff. There's a lot of people, there's two staunch sides. One that's just very much like, let's cancel all the coal mines, all the oil. We need to save this planet now. And then the other ones are like, no, let's pump up more coal and oil. Like, let's not worry about the environment. Global warming's a myth. I'm like, okay, well, it's somewhere in the middle of like, you clean up your home, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's not trash the other home either. That's just in general a good idea, whether you believe that God made the world or if this is just a crazy awesome coincidence. I'm like, you should still probably take care of it. It's probably the only one you've got. Until Elon Musk finds us another planet, we're gonna have to wait for a minute and make this one work.
Outside of Wyoming too, people stereotype Wyoming people so much because when they think of a Wyoming person, they picture like, I don't know, the most inbred redneck person in the world. So when they try to dog on those Wyoming people are so stupid, and then they try to impersonate you like you're some dumb redneck, and it's like, not all people are like that out in Wyoming. You got,
look at this room full of people right now.
And because I even get asked, is there a punk rock scene in Wyoming? I go, actually, one of the best ones. Like, actually go to Casper, the shows are always huge, like all the time.
That's cool, because even I have sometimes I have forgotten of some of the things that Wyoming does offer as far as the different groups of people. You forget about that, because even sometimes living here, maybe you start to get negative and imagine that there's only that redneck kind of person that's here, and you're like, oh, that's all that's here. That sucks.
Yeah, and that's what people assume, and it's like, but there's a lot of different cultures of people here. Not everybody's from Wyoming too. It's like people dog on. It's like, well, some people actually grew up in California. Like the moms and dads lived in California all their life, came here, had their kids here, and it's easier. But some of those kids grew up with the mentality of California from their parents, so it's not like we all have this, not everybody's the way they stereotype. But at the same time, I'm not going to stereotype a city person either. I didn't live in a big city all my life, so I don't see how things relate to them,
Yeah, no, I know it. But I think that's why I also like doing this, is because it's like all communication thing. Mm-hmm. So when and online, you see people like texting and stuff, or like on Twitter. It's been said, I think, well, at least by people who open minds, it's such a poor way to communicate on social media. Everyone's just looking for a sound bite. And well, you don't see people's personalities on it. Like, that's why I don't like, even just like, say if my boss writes me in a text about something for work, I'm like, is she pissed at me, or is she? Yeah.
And she might not even be pissed. It's just the way it came out, like the way she wrote it. There's no exclamation or smiley face or nothing. So then it's kind of that way. Like when you're reading something, people are like taking it all wrong, and then they get pissed instantly because they don't know you as a person, so they can't take what you really mean or what your personality is about. So it's like, it's just that's why, like, when my boss writes me something, I feel like she wrote me something shitty. I call her really quick, and then she's like, "Oh no, you're good." And it's like, okay, so because it's just better to hear the person. You can hear their tone of their voice. It's just different. That's why I like, even when I used to be single, meet girls, I hated texting them because I'd write something, go, "What'd you say?" And they took it all backwards. They took what your sentence said. Like, I said something shitty to them. It's like, no, that's not what I meant.
And I always felt like, say I was really interested in somebody. You're texting some girl, and maybe like you're really interested and you want to like mentally connect. You can't do that over there. And I'm like, what can I say and how can I say this so that you understand like what I mean? And then like,
does
you
it
probably
sound creepy? Like you're
then I text something and they're like,
creeped them out and they don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. And then you've probably, even both of you just have seen. I'm not like a big texter as it is, but like, I even at a young age, I got conscious of some people that would text me and they would always just like write like, okay, and then they like just do a
That's
period.
It?
Yeah.
What? Don't want to talk to me or something?
Yeah, and that was just, they were like, no, I'm fine. We can talk. And I'm like, are you sure? But so I started like consciously like trying to like put in exclamation marks, but it ended up spiraling out of control, and it's taken over my life ever since then. But now I have to watch myself because I'll put exclamation marks and everything because I'm like just like
No, I
always
used to
nice
do
and
that
energetic, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to be positive and stuff like that. But
And
then
they
I
think
realize
you're yelling in the text.
they either think I'm yelling or they're like, I don't know, they maybe they just think that I'm being way too energetic, or they think they're like, settle down,
like
buddy.
Cody, like I text him, that guy never writes you back ever. So you're sitting there going, man, is he mad at me or something? But you just realize that's how he is, because you'll even see somebody write him that's like famous, like in Volbeat or something like that, and he just puts his phone down. Like, aren't you gonna write him back? Maybe later. You know, that's just how. But that's just how he is. He's just not a big texter either. So it's not like he doesn't want to talk or anything. It's just not his thing, you know.
And I can relate to that just because a lot of times in my head, like I'll open up a message and I see it and I won't answer it. Which maybe it's like you should just answer it when you open it, because they can probably see you opened it and then they might take offense to it, or if it's been a long time and they're not sure and they're like, as much as we're all on our phones, you probably definitely saw that there was a text. It's eventually, at this point, but I'm bad about it. Of like, I'll see a text message, but my intention isn't to not reply. Mm-hmm. It's just that I mean to reply to it later. I'm like, maybe I'm not in a mood, or
see, and I get that a lot because I'm at work and I can't write people, so I'll read it and they see that I read it, so they think that I just ignored it. But crap, I can't write on the phone at work. I'm trying to be professional, but then I'll like remember it like 3 days later.
Yeah,
looking at, and then at that point I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna write him now. I feel stupid, so I just don't write him at all. Because I just had somebody write me the other day, is there something I did you offend you? You don't talk to me anymore. And it's like, no, you always seem to write me like in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping or like at work, and then all of a sudden when I'm looking at somebody else's like messenger messages, I'll look down and go, oh shit,
you did message me.
Yeah, and I didn't write him back, but now it seems like it's too late to write him back.
Yeah,
so I don't
there's
at all.
that. You don't want to just like try to casually hop back into a conversation you were having like a week ago.
Exactly.
That feels weird. But
Yep.
as far as texting people, I don't mean to not text people back, but there's also times where I'm just, like I said, either I'm doing something or it's just a matter of, like, sometimes some people will just want to keep texting, or they'll just want to maintain this conversation through text. But I don't. Like, it's just
you try to slowly break off the conversation by writing a little less,
do a
little less.
thumb.
Yeah, and it gets you a thumbs up because you're like, some people will not stop, and you're like thinking as the end of the conversation, it's like keeps going. You're like, thumbs up, bye, hang up.
Yeah, because and so if I think that this is gonna stretch on and just this, you're wanting to maintain a conversation. Like, man, I'll give you a little bit of my time, but if I'm in the middle of something, or if I kind of just shelf it, I'm like, okay, we'll do that conversation later. And sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. But
some guys will be writing you like they're a chick or something. You're like, dude, it's like you just don't do this with dudes. Write each other like, hey, what's up? What have you been up to? You know what I mean, kind of thing. Like to
so
me, it's
what's
like
on
maybe
your mind?
if you're trying to meet a girl or something, you kind of write them and start talking to them like that. But it's just always weird to me when somebody kind of know from work or something, they're writing you like, so what have you been up to? No, just okay. Why are you writing me like this? It's like, it seems like you're hitting on me or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I can understand it. Like, hey, you want to go hang out, have a beer? Oh, sure, I'll see you at the bar. That's cool. But some people just bored, just writing, hey, what are you doing? Sitting on the couch. Cool. I'm watching this and this on TV.
Like, that's the activity they want to be doing, is talking to you, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, all right.
But I don't want to sit here and talk on the phone. I'm trying to watch a movie, so
yeah, so you put it off to the side.
Yeah.
Well, lots of times, like what I think I'm trying to be better at as far as communicating and keeping in touch with people is just once in a while sending a text like, hey, what's up? Like, what you been up to? Because like even just recently, I was like, it's been a couple weeks since I've even heard from Connor, and so it's like, well, this would be a good chance to check on him, right? See how he's doing, or I'll just like text someone like, hey, like, what's up? What's going on? Like, I texted.
Sure they're still alive.
Yeah, and I texted like Cooper's and Laramie, and I was just curious if there was anything going on in like Wyoming, because I know there's been like protests, but I was like, there's nothing crazy going on in our state.
Yeah, I saw him not too long ago. Actually, he's getting gas at the gas station.
Yeah. I think whenever he comes down here, he pops in over here too, but. Yeah,
he's a good guy. I like that guy.
I know, and I get that reaction from everybody, even like my boss at work.
You couldn't hate that guy for nothing.
No, you couldn't. And yeah, my boss, like when I mentioned something, because I was going to interview the CEO of the hospital, and and I had asked my boss about getting in contact with her, and she was like, why? Like, why would you want to go talk to the CEO? What do you need to? And I was just told her about my podcast and stuff, and I was like, and so far I've just did one with Connor, Peterson and Cooper Carp, and she was like, oh, Like Cooper, because he had done some help, like he'd helped out with something with her kid or something. So that's how she knew him. But yeah, she was like, he was so nice and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't think I've heard anyone say anything bad about that guy.
Just singing to himself. I'd look over, when he was working at Loaf and Jug, and he'd be all, "This girl is on fire," and I'd go up to him and go, "So this girl's on fire, huh?" And he's like, "What?" And I go, "I don't know." It just looked funny because you're all getting all passionate, singing it to yourself.
Yeah, no, he's really good. He's one of those people that's really good about being himself. Like I feel like that's something I struggle with.
Yeah.
But that's just something that comes naturally to him. That he's just like super himself.
He'll sing to himself. He's singing in front of everybody, and he just don't care.
I would never happen with me. Like I know with my friends, he'll go out in public and he'll just be like, almost like comment, like it's like commentating out loud about the things he's seeing and what he thinks about stuff, and then he'll start like, "Yeah, I have this song stuck in my head," and I'm like, "Dude, there's people around, like they're looking at you, man." And he's like, "So?" And I'm like, "Well, it's also this kind of this weird thing of you can be yourself, but this is also a shared area." So like I know that when I'm going to the store, I didn't come there to hear someone's concert or to see your theatrics.
Or get people to stare at me because I'm standing here with you.
Yeah. People are looking at me going like
kind of walking away a little bit, like.
Yeah, sometimes I'll be put some distance between us. Yeah, no, I know, but Cooper's really good about that. I've always admired people that can just be themselves unapologetically and just 100% of the time.
Yep.
I can't do that. I know. Well, as far as coronavirus, this has kind of put a damper on some of your music work, right?
Oh yeah. Like right when we said we're going to do more this year too, it's like we literally played in Casper and it shut down the next day. You couldn't do concerts, so we barely got that concert in. Like it was a big crowd, but it would have been bigger because we had people already going, "Oh, I didn't think you guys would be playing because they were shutting everything down," But that place just happened to do it one more time. So
that's what I've heard from some people who do stuff, perform, that they either manage to get it in just right at the right time, or it just so happened.
Well, because even that day I had to write the guy. It's like, the concert's still on, just to make sure. And he's all, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, just making sure before I drive all the way to Casper and you get told that we can't play."
Yeah, I know. Were there any big plans? I guess was it just some more?
We're getting ready to. We're like, because we were talking with Cody to do more stuff with him, because he's always so busy with Teenage Bottle Rock and the Lillingtons, like. And he's like, "Sure, let's get some stuff booked." And it's like we had that show, and then I called him on to do another show, and then it's like too late to even do anymore. And like right now, I just talked to him the other day. He happened to be in Loaf and Jug, and he said they put on all their concerts are on hold till next year. So
really,
not doing anything. And almost every band I talked to, same thing. They all put it on hold till next year. It's just because it's just a lot of work to keep booking something and just getting told you can't do it. So it's just best give it some time, wait it out.
And especially right now where it's some places they're still like they're not like they're kind of like, well, I think it's New York. They're just here shortly. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna finally start our first phase of opening up," and then there's some places where they already have comedy clubs open.
Yeah.
So it's different that way. But then you hear people, they're always talking about the whole second wave.
Oh yeah,
come in and it's
like Cody, even when he got here, he's all, everybody in Colorado are wearing masks, everybody, and I get to Newcastle and everybody don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, that's just kind of, especially for the longest time around here, we
social distance. I said anyway. I mean, for the most part, I mean, everybody kind of does their own thing. You don't see people out on the streets like cluttered to each other or anything like that. And even at the store, I don't even have any of the markers on the floor anymore, and people just naturally stand away from each other.
It was weird though. I was in the gas station the other day, and I was in Maverick, and they just so happened they still have like the tape on there. I think they do, or they did when I was there.
I think they do.
And there was like some guy standing, even before the virus. He was standing at a closeness that would have been uncomfortable even then.
Just like, dude, get away, dude.
I thought about it. I was like, I guess this is the nice thing is with that on the floor, I could use that as an excuse and be like, "Hey, 6 feet, buddy.
Yeah, 6
back
feet.
up," and not feel like rude, like I'm a little justified in doing it.
Yeah, pretty much like us at the store. We've been putting up with this crap the whole time, and we're just like done with it. I took our shields and threw them on the ground. It's like,
oh really?
Yeah, I don't even have them up. We're just sick of it. I mean, they're not required technically. It's just something your corporate company made you do. And I took ours down, and then I had corporate people come like, "Oh shit!" Like, I wonder if I'm gonna get in trouble. And they didn't say a word.
Well, I think at this point most people are sick of it, and most people are like, over it. I mean, no one wants to get sick ever. No one wants. But I feel like there was even to some extent some people were just kind of.
Well, those shields were kind of sharp. I would stick my hand in there to hand some of the groceries. I cut my hand several times. I'm like, how's that any more sanitary? Getting cuts all over your hand.
I always
and stuff
felt
like
bad about like people putting their hands in things. Like they'd reach in there to like fucking like bag stuff up for me, and then they'd like be reaching, and some people wouldn't put it close, and I was like, you jerk.
Soon, buddy.
Would you be a pal? And I got beer in the fridge, by the way. You could have this whole time. Like I kind of looked over at one point and I was like, yeah, I was like, he's watching me drink that and thinking, how can I get in on that?
Then you got Jason over here, like, hurry up, Daddy.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, I won't take up too much more of your time or anything like that. I know he's.
Well, it's kind of going fast. I just realized it has been a bit. Like, but I mean, I'm having fun. So.
No, this is always good. When it goes good and you're having fun talking, then it's like you just lose track of time. And at one point, I was just looking at my notes and I was looking at this. I just kind of peeked at the time and I was thinking, when did we start this?
Well, because I just noticed my wife was calling. She was like, shit, what time? Was it 1 something now?
It's 1:25 now.
Holy cow! It's been in like an hour and a half almost.
Yeah, and I was
Holy
like,
cow.
oh, jeez, it was. Yeah, it was, and you were here pretty much like on
time.
On time, yeah. So yeah, I won't take up too much more of your time or anything like that. But I guess I just wanted to know, like, this is kind of like just a reflective, kind of cliche question. But I guess either if you could have done things differently, or I guess as far as advice to somebody else, it was gonna kind of where you guys were at when you like this being young and wanting to create stuff. I guess what would you do different, or what would you? How would you? Maybe what's the path? I know there's no one true path to getting stuff done. It's just what would you have done?
I think I just would have worked a lot harder than we did sometimes. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times that me and TJ could have been touring more and stuff like that. But a lot of times it's like it turns into drinking in the garage and hanging out more. I mean, we practiced a lot when we were kids, and I mean, if we had the money when we were kids, we probably would have went farther because we were more dedicated. It's just that you start getting older, you start getting like a little bit lazy, but you get a daily routine, you go to work, and just from working all the time, you're like, oh, just go in the garage and listen to music and drink some beers. And when we should have been getting on that phone and booking tours and doing a little bit more work, but I mean, we did, quite a bit of work, but there's just more we could have done. Like, I mean, when I went to Medford, I remember how we even got big there. I made it happen pretty quick because I went and burned like hundreds and hundreds of CDs, and I didn't charge anybody for them. I just walked up and down the street and passed somebody, go, hey, check out my band, or whatever. If you don't like it, give it to one of your friends that might like it. And, did that, and all of a sudden we're playing with Kill Switch Engage there that quick.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And it's just all about the work you put behind it. But I wasn't, because we were never about money. We were never like, oh, I want to be rich. We just wanted to play. So like some people because you'll see bands out there that aren't, like they're all right, but they're not big in any way, but they're still trying to charge you $10 for their CD that you've never heard of them, or you're not going to get $10 out of somebody.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are probably passing out their stuff.
I know. I know we need the money as a band, and you'd love to get that $10 for that CD. But if you really want to get your name out there, you want to pay your dues. So, like when we played with Kill Switch Engage, guess what? We made nothing. We got to play with Kill Switch Engage, and that's what they say is like a perk. It got your name out there. We got to play in front of 2,000, 3,000 people. Mm-hmm. So now 3,000 people know our band now, kind of thing.
They walk away with your band, your songs.
And I got to play with Kill Switch Engage.
Yeah, you got a cool experience. But that's just it, too. You got to... The experience has to be worth it to you, because if otherwise, like I mentioned, maybe I don't go anywhere with this. Maybe this doesn't blow up. But
if you don't do any work, it ain't going to go anywhere anyway. So if you got to put dedication into it. You got to work hard. Even if you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you can't give up, because there's always going to be a slump where you feel like nothing's happening. All of a sudden, boom, you got the best thing that ever happened. I mean,
nothing has gotten like huge for me right now, but even like when I first started, it was almost like trying to get people to do this.
Well, you get one fan, you get two fans, all of a sudden you got three fans, you got 4 or 5. It's just you got to just keep doing it to where like I said, you got to keep it interesting. It can't be like, so how are you doing? So you got to keep it like exciting and stuff, and get some fun people on here and make it fun. Drink beers, I think loosen it up, just make it fun.
Yeah, and like you passing out even CDs, I feel like there's what I've been trying to be conscious of is there's always something you could probably be working on to further your goal. Yeah. Like it's just, and that's where I try to get creative and think like, okay, so what can I do as far as so you want to get your podcast out there, or you want to get your music out there.
Yeah.
How can I do that? What are some things? And so there might be some ideas, and they might seem cringy.
Oh no, we thought
but-
of things that might get you arrested, but it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
Because we've thought about, hey, let's just go set up our fucking band in the middle of the street down on like
Just
Main
something
Street,
crazy.
and just start fucking playing. Because then that would draw attention. People would probably come watch you just because you did something crazy, and then you might went jail for it. But all of a sudden you're on the front page of the paper.
It's in the newspaper.
For doing it. But we've thought about doing just something you just get your name out there that you could get in trouble. I mean, it's worth going to jail for something like that. There's people go to jail for stupider shit, but
Yeah, I'd
like
go
to Rapid City, just go set up somewhere like in the, like right in the middle of public, and start playing right on the side of the street and loud as fuck, to where, you draw all this attention to you and
climb onto a billboard and spray paint on
yeah.
there.
But I mean, shit, look at all the people who like recognize you for it. We've thought of those things, but like, maybe we shouldn't do that. But one thing we did one time was similar, but we just went to a Warped Tour. And we weren't on the Warped Tour or nothing like that. It's in Denver with that band Dr. Neptune we talked about. And we just went and set up by the gate where everybody's standing because there's more people there almost than inside.
Yeah.
And started playing, and somebody ran over and says, you can't be doing that, and started yelling at us. And then somebody else came over, and somebody else. And then finally one of them's like, actually, I think this is a good idea. And they let us keep playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, because it was like kind of us like playing for the people waiting in line.
Yeah, that's a good idea anyways.
So at first, like,
It's
that
like
one
you guys
guy
have
was trying to
charged
kick us
them.
out, and then one guy finally came up and just said, that's a good idea. And then so after that, it was in Denver, bands started doing it after that every time.
Damn.
Because
cool.
Because we just thought about it. We're like, well, shit, there's shitloads of people just standing there bored waiting in line, Perfect time to play.
That whole group of people right there, yeah, they all now walk away knowing your name, like you're in the band.
And you weren't on the
Music.
Warped Tour, but you're playing for some of the same crowd. Some probably even more, because some of the bands I've went and watched, decent sized bands at the Warped Tour, and there's like 20 people watching them, just because there's so
Yeah.
many different bands playing.
Well, and here, like you said, it might be sometimes the consequence. It still might be worth it because maybe like worst case scenario, jail and a fine.
Yeah. Or we got shut down, but at least we
Or
still got to
people-
play, we still got to get through like 10 songs in front of all these people, and we went, because we passed out CDs to them too. So it's like we played and then just walked up to everybody in line and started giving them CDs and
Yeah.
stickers and stuff to promote you.
Well, yeah, not in that case. Worst case scenario, what, you get rejected or something like that. or
Well,
someone
and
tells
after
you to
that,
stop.
we can go play in anywhere in Denver, like everybody knows who we are. So we get shows anytime at any place. Because we know everybody, like the band The Implants, they're like a super group of the band Strung Out and some other people that I like, and I saw that they're playing in Denver, and this was just last year, and I go, I'm getting us on that show. Like that quick, and I just got on the internet and started writing people. I go, hey, who's putting on this concert? And I actually just wrote the singer of the band, and because he played in this town a long time ago before they were big, so he knows he knew at Newcastle. So I go, maybe he'll write me back because he knows who I am. And I go, hey, is there any way I can get on that show with you guys? And then he actually wrote me back. He goes, oh, dude, he goes, I have nothing to do with that, but he goes, the guy put it on is John. I can't remember what. I have to think of his name, but he's got a big name there. Oh, Peter Orr. And then I was like, oh, cool, I know that guy's name. And then so I wrote Cody right away. I go, Cody's got to know this guy. His band's huge, And I go, Cody, I want on the Implant show, man. And the guy from the Implants that Peter Orr's put it on. And Cody just never, like how he said, doesn't write you back.
Yeah.
So then I go, fuck, he didn't write me back. And then I woke up the next day and he goes, dude, it's done. We got the show. That's what I woke up to for a text. But
That's
I mean,
what you want to hear.
But I mean, just kind of, that dedication and the right people since, playing there, I knew that guy's name. So you just got to go, okay, that guy's got to know this guy.
Yeah,
so.
and I think that's something that stuck with me was even when I was little, my dad. And I think he said it in more of like a negative connotation. Like, he's like, it's just all about who you know
It is.
these days. But then I've thought about it since then, and it's like, well, that's also a good thing. I'm like, okay, fine. Then I need to go know people because that way it's all about who you know. I'll make those.
No, that's the
connections.
whole point. Is like it's who you know because you got to get out there to know somebody. If you sit back in the background, you're never gonna get to meet those people. It's like one time, like I remember Bad Religion, the guitar player. Like we were just our record label had this super group called the T4 Project that had guys from Strung Out, Bad Religion, a whole bunch on it. And then the guy from Bad Religion was standing over there because they were bringing him their copies of the CDs. And somebody said, oh, dude, I wouldn't talk to that guy. He kind of don't like it when people talk to him. He's kind of schizophrenic kind of guy. And I had enough beers in me. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
and
you were
I
confident.
walked over there, and all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, they're going, holy shit, because I held a conversation with that guy for like 2 hours, and he hung out with me and drank beers together.
Mission accomplished.
And I think I was just buzzed enough to where I wasn't annoying him. I was just confident. and just went up and just started
Okay, then,
bullshitting.
yeah, that's perfect. You don't want to be annoying.
And so now I talk to that guy all the time when I see him because he remembers me. So it's like, but I just had the guts just to do it. Like what's worse gonna happen? He's gonna go, who the fuck is this guy? Get the fuck away from him. Like, oh well, he didn't know me anyway.
Yeah, and maybe I won't ever see him again as it is. So,
at least I have a cool story that he told me to get the fuck away from him.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And that's just where I don't want it to be bad as far as maybe it kind of sounds like shitty to be the kind of person that, like, maybe you're just trying to meet, like, oh, you're just trying to meet this person to further your goal. But I'm like, but that's kind of what it takes a little bit. Like, but I'm okay with like a friendship after, or at least always being on good terms with them. I kind of just like see it in more of a positive way, because it's like if I talk to some of these people, or if we meet people.
Well, the thing
you
I
always
learned
have them there in your book.
when I talk to people and I've got them to actually talk and hang out with me, is like, because I never bring up, hey, I love your band, dude. What was your favorite song you guys made? What, I just kind of walked up and didn't make it about his band. I made it about like, hey, dude, you're fucking awesome, dude. I love your band, and then turn it into something else. I just like, shit. How was the drive here, man? Was it hot out, or I just start
like a person.
you just start talking to him like a person. A lot of times they'll start hanging out with you and talking to you back, because nobody likes when somebody's just coming up to you just constantly, well, here you're asking me questions because I'm on a podcast. That's what it's for,
right?
For that. But but when you have somebody just walking around asking you all these dumb questions, and your focus is on, I got to go do sound check and doing this, blah blah blah, and this person's just following you, pestering you, pretty soon you're just like, get the fuck away from me, dude. Like, I've got shit I got to do. Be different if you talk to me a little bit, and then he goes, oh, dude, you got shit to do. Go do whatever. And like, oh, he's cool, and then maybe I'll talk to him later.
Be
when I'm
thoughtful.
done, But you get some that just like will just follow you and hump your leg,
Do you guys have any bad experiences with that stand out to you, as far as anyone badgering your band too much, other than that girl?
Yeah, you do sometimes. You get you get obsessive people that, like, kids that love your band so much, but they're too obsessive.
Yeah,
like you'll come out.
You need some more hobbies.
Yeah, you'll come out the back of the show and he's back wherever you're at. No matter where you're at, it's like Mr. D's. Like, he goes, I'm sneaky. They end up everywhere you're at. And like, how the fuck did you get here? And they're just annoying and shit, and you can't stand them. And
I know. Well, I guess as far as that, I guess just gonna happen when it comes to kind of being in the public eye. I mean, is there? For you, that's been pretty mellow, nothing too dramatic with being kind of more in the public eye a little bit.
No, not too bad. I mean, you kind of like it a little bit. You always you liked it when you're younger. Now it's like, I don't know. Now it's different. It's because it's like you're in the public eye, but nobody recognizes you anymore. Oh, you got fat and old. No. Oh, that's the guy in Chesterfield. Shit, I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, are you sure?
Because that's how it is nowadays. Because before, when I was younger, they just recognized me. Now it's like, you hadn't lived here for a while, moved back, and I'm a manager at the store, and then you mentioned who your band is, like, oh, you're the guy in Chester. They don't recognize you as much as they used to. And the only cool part sometimes, though, working there is, like, I'll meet people that are like what was it, like 2 years ago, I looked at this guy and I go, dude, did you go to Casper shows back in the day? Because I just recognized him, and this is like 20-something years later. And he goes, I did. And he looked at me all weird, and
suspicious.
I go, did you ever go to punk shows in Casper? And he goes, yeah. And I go, my band was the Hybrids. He's all, holy fuck, I was in Quibbling Wallbangers. And that was the band we grew up playing with there. And like, holy shit, I thought really I recognized you. And he works for the railroad now, but he just happened to come in our store, and he just has one of those faces that I'm like, I recognize this guy somehow. So, but it's just kind of neat, when you see that. And then the other day that kind of happened, one of the pipeliners were in there and stuff, and I saw his ID, and he's like from Douglas, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's where my family stuff grew up. I go, I have some friends there named Ray Hinckley, and he's all, oh, dude, I just got done playing guitar with that guy. And I go, yeah, I play in a band called Chesterfield. And he's all, no fucking way. Like, right away, it's kind of cool to see that,
yeah,
they've never met you before, and they know who you, heard about you and shit.
Because I know you mentioned you've moved and you've done some other stuff. Would you, and maybe at that time you should have just stayed here, but from here on out, and especially assuming that coronavirus and all this other shit wasn't going on, would you ever consider moving anywhere that in a way that would benefit your music or any other aspects of your life?
I think, like I said here, you could tour all you want, but what my dream was, and I tried to get the rest of the band to do it, they wouldn't, was like, let's go to fucking California, live on the beach, and just fucking play all over the beach. Because seriously, when we were there, we got to hang out with Pennywise when we were out there, and that whole Hermosa Beach lifestyle was so awesome, because when we were there hanging out, walking up and down the beach, there's fucking band playing on a rooftop over here, band playing just outside everywhere. It's just it just seemed like a spot you didn't have to have money, to play. You know, you could have found us. You could have went and asked the bar if we could play on the roof. Like you could have done. Then there's all that exposure right there.
Tons
You
of
know,
experience.
and I would live in. I just said to me, I would have lived in a van and ate ramen every day. Wouldn't have bothered me one fucking bit.
Yeah, because I kind of consider it like, to me, this place, I've lived here most of my life, so I have, I know plenty of people, and I know at this point, like, if I really needed to, like, someone would put a roof over my head, someone would help me out, or someone would even give me a job or something like that, so I could be productive and make money. But I feel like I'd rather, since I have what I consider like my safe space here, my home base or whatever,
Your safety net kind of
yeah,
thing.
that way I would like to go do that, eat fucking ramen and live poor, but just spend every day grinding, trying to like do what I wanted to do, and then that way, like, say something bad happens, just come back to the safety net.
Yeah, some people just stress easier. Like me, I don't get stressed out for like. That's why I can handle being a manager because there's a lot of stress. But I just like always figure you can only do so much, man. So quit stressing. So, and so to me, it's like, I mean, it's like I said, I could live on the beach. I mean, I love the ocean. I could stare at that thing all day long, and it just for some reason makes me feel relaxed or whatever. So I mean, I picture the lifestyle. We could live in the van right here, and we could just fucking play shows every day. And there's always cool people. I mean, when you walked up and down, they're all friendly and shit like that. And and you can just meet all these new people. And then there's a lot of connections in that area. That's where Black Flag came from, Pennywise, all that stuff. So we already hanging out with Pennywise. So I was trying to get my band to let's just move here because we play here enough. They know us. They came and watched us play. They'll come watch us again. Eventually, we can get on a show with them.
Yeah.
That kind of exposure, but nobody had the guts to do it but me.
Well, because that just sounds awesome, like being on the beach.
Yeah.
It was like a sunset. Maybe you guys were playing music, or maybe you're just sitting back.
Might be stinky living in that van
beer.
everywhere, but
Yeah, but that would be fun, and you'd never forget it. And like I said, it's probably the same way with you. This area would be your safety net, so you could always just fall back here.
Well, that's
if
what
it got bad.
always figured. If it got bad, my parents would let me come back. That's just how they
Yeah.
are. Family's always there for you.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to, but
Yeah.
damn, I could always just go back to, like I said, here, or back, your parents or your family, whatever. So, I mean, I think the risk is probably worth it, which is kind of where I'm at in thinking about, like, a lot of what I like to do involves people. And that's kind of like, well, like both of us, if you're going to be an entertainer, you're going to do something that's involves people. The more people, the better.
Well, like that Joe Rogan, I listen to his podcast, and he said pretty much to be a comedian, you got to live out of your car for the first couple of years, and he did. He lived in a car, like, to get where he wanted to be, and a lot of people going to LA, that's how they live, is live in your car, and eventually, if you keep working hard enough, you'll get there.
Have you had to live out of your car?
I lived out of TJ's car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, when we went to Denver, we had to live, like, we got a place there with that band, Dr. Neptune, but it's one of those things where, like, half of them don't pay the rent and stuff, and it's like, all of a sudden you see an eviction, and you're like, great, have nowhere to go. And Jesse, our guitar player, is living in Boulder with another band called the Stun Doubles, and so, I don't know, we had nowhere to go. We didn't want to come home and feel like losers, kind of thing, so we just toughed it out and tried to get jobs, and we just, like, would, go park. We drive kind of to Boulder where he was at, between Boulder and Denver, and you'd find little areas to park your vehicle and try to sleep. But man, people like call the cops on you quick, man. Like,
why would people do that?
I know,
like,
we'd park and try to sleep, and also the cops would be there that quick. Like, you can't do that, you can't, because the people would call in, and then it just get to the point, like, even we'd stay at the Stun Doubles house, but landlords are picky. Like, we stayed there for one night, and the landlord was already there the next day asking, are they living here?
Really?
Trying to get you to pay rent and shit. Like, that quick. And so it was like, it turned into where me and TJ, like, would just stay up all night pretty much, and then we'd go to the park or whatever during the day and go sleep on a bench.
Oh, man.
So you at least could sprawl out or sleep in the grass, like, and it was normal,
I guess that's what I do, just go to the park and just lay under, like,
only place you not get harassed, or whatever. We just go park there during the day, sleep during the day, and at night just kind of hang out with everybody and drink beer and do whatever, and then go to the park and go crash out.
Yeah, because then at least you're in the park. Like, if a police officer came up and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because
like,
we didn't really look at bombs. We just kind of
resting.
made it look like we were reading a book or something. We like pulled out a book, sat it next to us so we could just say,
just put the book on your face and just
Oh,
fall
just-
asleep. Oh, I fell asleep reading. Sorry.
yeah. Well, it's hard to get a job. You had the vehicle, but then it's like you go downtown to go get a job, but there's parking meters everywhere, and we're like, I don't even have a quarter to my name to even park the vehicle there,
Yeah, right. That's what I was, and I think that's what I was worried about. Like, because like right now I got payments on my car, so like if I go somewhere, I better have some income, because I won't even be able to live out of the car if they find me and like, take it back. So
And
I'm
we
like, okay, so I
find
got
odd
money.
jobs, like we got to do one in Boulder, like because the guy at Stun Doubles, his dad or whatever, had this festival he put on. It's like the Boulder Creek Festival. It's a huge festival. They have carnival rides to getting your face painted, just a bunch of fun little activities, or food vendors and stuff. And me and TJ, just our job was just taking trash, and we got a golf cart, and we got to just drive around, and that was fun driving that thing in general. So we just take garbages and stuff, and then it got to the point where the vendors were cool. They, like, for taking my trash, they give us free food and stuff like that. And then for the Belgian brewery guys, we helped them move a keg with our golf cart or whatever. So then we just came up and they give us free beer all the time. So half time you're half drunk driving around.
That's awesome.
So it was a fun job. And then one time it was funny because, like, the owner just goes, like, code blue. That means you have to meet up somewhere because something happened, like a kid fucking got kidnapped or something. We
Alligator
get there,
came out.
and then he comes up and hands us beer. And I was like, cool, because it's your boss. I go,
Yeah.
oh, cool. And he just knew we were working hard. And then we had another guy that did the same thing. And it was funny because then he goes, go into the bathroom stall. And I go, why? What? And he's all,
Yeah, you're like,
He had, like, lines of Coke all lined out and shit.
Okay.
And we're like, what the fuck?
I was afraid this was going to be like a,
yeah.
a glory hole.
Yeah, he's all, and we're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, because that's just where he could do it. And he goes, like, go look under the piece of paper. There's, like, lines of Coke. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, me and TJ are driving the golf cart.
Yeah. I'm invincible.
Stop, get the beer, and then there was always, like, cute chicks working at some of them. So some of them we just give rides, like, hey, you want a ride? And they just jump on, and we had fun doing that.
Yeah, but I'm sure, like, you just find, like, odd job, because, like, something I've always thought about too with, like, working these jobs that I have, we have to work them to continue to pursue the things we want to. I've always thought, yeah, but in some, like, as much as this is a good safety net and I've got a good gig here, it's still, like, as far as that part of my life that I have to do, I kind of would like to go try different stuff. So I know there's not just one job out there for me that I'm going to do and just want to do forever.
But just moving, like me and TJ, even like the first time we moved to Oregon or anything, I never felt so alive to have something different. Like going there and just starting something fresh was exciting. You felt like being a little kid starting first grade or something, just something like you're doing something totally new you've never done before, and it made you feel like alive again. Like I miss that feeling, because I grew up here, and it just kind of felt like how it is now, but moving to somewhere it's like super nice, green, beautiful, different people, bigger but not too big, because city life Denver was kind of too crazy for me. I mean, like Medford, Oregon, where we lived was probably maybe the size of Rapid City, so it's like perfect size.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I've thought about too. But I'd like to go find that out because at least you have that experience, and I'm sure I probably will if I go to a city.
It was like one of those things where I was waking up in the morning without an alarm because you were excited to get up because you're somewhere new and wanted to go out and go for a walk because it's a whole different neighborhood you've never seen in your whole life. You know what I mean? It just, you had that excitement again, and I miss that feeling because now it's like every day it's like all you want to do is go to sleep and you got to go to work, go to sleep, kind of thing. And like I said there, you're so excited. You woke up, you didn't need an alarm to wake you up, and you're like, oh, I'm up. Like, what are we going to do today?
I'm in the city.
Yeah, exactly. You get that automatic adrenaline rush,
Right. Well, I won't hold up any more of your time. I know we've almost gone through like.
I know my wife's all pricing at home. Where the hell is he?
Yeah, bring him back to me, Tanner. All right. Well, thanks for doing this again.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Every time I get nervous, like doing an interview just a little bit, and then it always goes off even better than I could have expected.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing it.
No problem, man.
Super fun.
Anytime.
Say bye-bye.
All right, later.
Later.